name's Paxton from Imagistic, and today I'm going to talk you through how to make your own visual notes. And I'm joined by Annelies James, who's going to ask me some questions and keep the story flowing. So,
love it. Let's get started.
Let's get started. So we're going to do some top tips of visual notes, how you can make your own visual notes so that you can remember more when you're in meetings, so they can be more fun, so that you haven't got to stab yourself with a pencil to keep yourself awake or resort to writing your shopping list, so that you're going to remember more and you're just going to have a great time in every single meeting you go to. So let's get started.
Sounds amazing. So anyone can do this?
Absolutely anyone.
Okay, even if you can't draw?
Even if you can't draw. It's not about drawing, it's about content.
Content, okay, I'm excited.
It is content first.
Because I find at events and discussions, business meetings, there's lots of discussion, isn't there? Loads and loads and loads of words.
Yep.
So it must be quite difficult to draw that out and think about those little tiny tidbits of information that are the salient points.
It is. And one way to do that is to make lots of notes. So write lots of notes and then review them and find out which are the most important. And gradually you'll get the hang of it and you'll start to be able to listen for those things first of all. But to start with, write lots of notes and then hone it down. And choose the things that are most important. Okay, so there are three key things really that you need to remember when you're doing this. And first of all, listen.
2 ears, 1 mouth.
It's obviously goes without saying that if you don't listen, you're not going to get anywhere. So first of all, listen. Second, think.
This is requiring a lot.
So we're going to use our brains, and we're going to use both sides of our brains. We're going to use our left side of our brain and our right side of our brain. And together they're going to help us remember more. And third, and finally, is the drawing.
What's the difference between the left and the right side of the brain?
We're going to come to that in a minute.
Spoiler alert, okay.
Yes. So, and that obviously just goes around and around and around.
Oh wow, listen, think, draw.
Listen, think, draw.
Listen, think, draw. Okay, I like it.
So let's start with the listening bit of it. What you're trying to do is you're listening for those key points that we just said. And the way to do that is you're looking for those little golden nuggets. You're sifting out the information for the golden nuggets. And one way to do that is to make lots of notes and review them. Whoops, make notes. See, everyone makes mistakes.
So is this actually in during the event?
During the event. So you're doing it real time as the meeting's going on.
Wow, okay.
Some people, it's a good way, some people do a very draft version of their sketch note and then they take it away and they review it afterwards.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, the things we're talking about here is whilst we're talking about visual notes, we're actually talking about sketch notes, and I think we mentioned that earlier. And if you want to find out more, just Google sketch notes, #sketch notes, and you will find loads of stuff.
Okay.
And Sketchnote Handbook is a great place to start. There's also the Sketchnote Army, who is an army of people from all around the world who sketchnote and share their stuff online.
Sketchnote Army is a cool name.
Sketchnote Army, yep. Sketchnote Handbook by Mike Rodey. And it is amazing. Okay, so so back to our listening. We're listening for the keynotes, you're making some rough notes and you're going to review them. You're sifting for the content to find those golden nuggets.
Love it.
And then really, you've got to then think about what that's going to look like on your page. So one thing to do is to set your page out before you start. So before you go, you need to work out what is going to happen at that meeting. So it's a bit of planning before you get there.
Okay.
You know what time it's going to be, you know when it's going to start, you know when it's going to finish, you know what the content's going to be. So you can plan out your page using time. So set yourself some timings.
Okay.
So you know when different things are going to happen so that you've got enough space.
Yep.
So it's one of the things I do when I'm drawing big is to work the page out so I know that morning, afternoon, so you don't run out of space. So you want to do a similar sort of thing.
I'm one of those sorts of people who start writing even across an A4 page and it just goes off the end. And I'm like, oh no.
Yes, exactly. So you need to just do a bit of planning. So you plan out how that, and then you also plan out your template of the page. So you might decide, well, I'm just going to write in 2 big long columns. You might decide you're going to write in boxes. So I'm going to put my key bit in the middle bit, like a mind map, and I'm going to work all around it.
Okay.
There's lots of different layouts that you can use. You might do a grid. You might say, well, actually, I quite like drawing this way around, because I can, you know.
Maybe in this example, so you know, one of the things you're going to be talking about is like ideas generation. You could do a big light bulb and fill it up with all the ideas.
You could do a big light bulb, indeed.
I'm learning.
You are learning. Yeah. So, and the other thing to do is to get your titles on first.
Okay.
So before the meeting start, get your titles on. Titles before. Prep. This is your prep. Titles on before. So that's, you can make those quite pretty. You know, you might do some bubble writing, or write it in one colour and go around the outside and give it a bit of an outline. Just to do that before you get to the meeting. And it means that when you get there, you're straight into the content and you're not fiddle-arsing about getting lost.
This is very simple stuff, but I would never think about it.
Exactamundo. Simple but obvious. So yeah, so you've done your prep, you've got your titles on and you're ready to go. You know what your layout's going to be, and you've started to listen, and you're listening for these lovely golden nuggets.
There's gold in them there heels.
There's gold in them there heels. And then so the thing you want to do is start with get the words on. So forget about the drawings, forget about the pictures, just get some words.
Okay. I imagine half of the job actually is making it look, like making words look good.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you're not great at drawing, but you can actually, if you spend a bit of time, words can still look really pretty.
Absolutely. Practice your handwriting. And writing in capitals is actually easier than it is to writing in lowercase. And you can make your capitals look really neat. Yeah. And there was a little thing about a while ago that when you were writing in caps, you were shouting. But I think we're over that now. And I think it's just a nice way to write quite neatly. Yeah. And consistently, neatly using capitals. So think about your words. So think about your hierarchy. Now, I can't actually spell this. How do you spell hierarchy? H-I-E-R-A-C. Something like that. So think about the hierarchy of your content. So think about your titles. So you might have a big title. You might have a subheading. And then you might write your body just using your normal handwriting. So think about how that's going to look, and then each block of text you use is going to have a similar sort of style. So you'll have a title, subheading, body, and you can use colour in there as well. I'm just using black now because it's quicker, but you might choose a purple heading, you know, so you change it up with some colour. That. And get your words in first. So number 1, words. And then you can then start to embellish it with some pictures. And as we were just saying earlier, you know, obvious things like your light bulbs. Yeah. Really obvious things, but the more you do it, the more you find things that you can draw for each of your, for whatever you want to do. And the best way to do it is, if you don't know what to draw, just Google it. And I use Google is your friend.
Google is your friend.
Google is your friend.
Google's everyone's friend.
Yeah, and you can find, and just look on the images. So the images tab, and there's always something there that you can find to draw. So get your titles in first, work out how your subheadings are going to look, and then come to the drawings afterwards. And then third from that is to think about the connectors.
See what you did there? You did your little arrows and you connected that up.
Yeah, connected that up nicely with some arrows. Connectors, and you've also got banners and boxes. So when we're talking about connectors, it's how you connect information together or how you divide information. So they can be connectors and lines. So here you've got things like, obviously you've got your dashy line, you've got your straight line, you've got a wiggly line, you've got zigzags, and you might want to get a pen and join in this bit if you want to. For your banners and boxes, you can just have a simple square around some text. Yeah. You could have some circles, you could have some speech notes. I'm just going to change my pen because that one's running out a little bit. I've got another one.
I'm compelled to draw a light bulb.
Here.
Now I've talked about it.
So you've got speech notes, you've got thinking bubbles.
Oh, I love those ones with the speech ones coming out. Can I draw in a colour on this?
You can do whatever you like. So, yeah, so you've got thinking bubbles, and then you've obviously you've got banners.
You're good at this. Outside you were doing the arrow thing, weren't you? With the arrow, with the...
Oh yeah, they're great, yeah. The arrow with the little box underneath, which you can put your heading into or something. Yeah.
Love it. And
So banners, boxes, connectors and lines.
News. Okay. Heading in the news direction.
And you've obviously got colour that you can highlight with colour. You can draw some, you know, it's nice to just put some clouds around titles.
I do love that. You know, you talked about titles being like specific colour subheadings and then body being different.
Yes.
It really makes a difference. I do that on like random CVs and stuff. Like I put the headings in different colours and different. I love it. And like different complementary like hues. Is it hues?
Hues of colour. Yep.
It's terrible.
Oh, heart in the middle. That'd be nice.
Oh yes. That'd be nice. Love ideas.
Love ideas.
I love ideas. Ah, I love that. Oh, a little love bulb.
A love bulb. I love that too. I'm going to use that. Okay, so
I love this bit.
you've started getting your page together. You've got your connectors in line. You're going to drop some drawings in. You're going to connect it all up. You're going to use some banners and boxes to highlight information, to drop information into. Speech notes are always great.
These are great, yeah.
Yeah, big thinking bubbles are always great. And obviously, if you want to record what someone's saying, whack it into a speech bubble, and then you always know that that was a quote.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Something like that. So that's kind of a very, very quick throw through it. They've got a couple of other tips. So we talked about metaphors there and using Google. So I say create yourself a visual. Can I just come over here? So you want to make yourself a visual library. So make yourself your own visual library. And when I started out, I had a book, and every time I used something, every time I used a drawing, I'd put it in my book.
Okay.
You know, set it up by alphabet, and in there you can put everything you might need. You can have your, excuse me, I'm just going to go down on one knee.
Do you take photographs of these things as well, or did you just redraw them into this book?
Yeah, well, Pinterest is a great place to look for visual library, and I've got a visual library on Pinterest, and I just whack everything in there. So when I find something, a photograph, I just put it in there. So whenever I need to find a picture, you can go to there and have a look. But yeah, you can create yourself digital. I've got a digital one as well on my iPad, so I keep things in there. So if I draw something regularly, it goes in there, and I know where to find it really quickly. So you're going to keep a record in here of all your metaphors, metaphor, something like that. Banners, images, connectors.
It's a great idea because we actually forget. People have got too much stuff in their head, haven't they? So
yeah. So so get yourself a nice visual library, and then of course from that you can. Hold on, where's my red pen gone? There it is. There's your visual library, and also finally create yourself a toolkit.
Get your spanner out again.
Get your spanner out. And there are people who get very, very, very. They have to have the right notebook. So everyone likes moleskin notebooks and particular types of pens. And before you know it, you'll have a bag the same size of mine with all your bits and pieces in. So create yourself a toolkit. This pen's running out now. And in there, you want to keep at least some different colour pens. You want to get your favourite notebook.
I'm
also some scrap paper. Me too. I've got a whole box completely unused notebooks.
Oh my
this
god,
big.
I give them away eventually.
I've got one of yours in my box that you gave me. Scrap paper.
I love that.
Because I can't say no to a notebook. Pen, so you want to get a pencil. You want an eraser. And take that everywhere you go.
Fundamentals: pens, notebooks, scrap paper, pencil, eraser. Yeah. Love it.
Notebook. Oh, here's a little.
Love it.
And something to sharpen your pencil with, probably.
Perfect.
So that's your toolkit. Okay. And also, don't forget your visual library.
Oh yes.
I've just forgotten something else up here. As well as connectors and lines, you also need to think about here bullet points.
Okay.
So it's not, we can draw a little circle for a bullet point, but you can draw anything for a bullet point. Things like a tick box, a curly whirly, What else could you draw
Star.
for a bullet point? A star. Let's
I'm
have a
gonna do
star
it.
from Annelies.
I'm a big fan of stars.
Yeah, me too.
You could always have hearts.
You could have hearts.
Have a blue heart.
Yep. So let's just write, so I'll put our bullet points here. And bullet points are a sketchnoter's friend because they divide everything up and make it really easy to see.
Well, even in here, you're actually
Absolutely.
dotting,
Break it down into, the hierarchy and the bullet points and everything. Very important.
Okay, I love it.
Okay.
Is this everything?
I think that probably is enough to get started, yes.
So, big question. Why?
Why? Yes, that's a very good question, Annelies. Thank you for asking that because we've got some space over here that we can just write it down on.
We have that space.
So, why do we do this? Well, I think we mentioned earlier that this is a great way to help you remember more, but why does it help you remember more? Basically, when you're writing notes like this, you are using both sides of your good old brain and you're stretching it and making it work harder.
Okay.
You're using your left side and you're using your right side. And I think this is the right way around. So this is your logical maths and word side.
Okay.
And this is your arty side. This is your imagination. Okay? And basically, when you use the two together, the result is that you're able to remember more.
Okay.
And it's as simple as that. It's been proven, I couldn't tell you who proved it, but it has been proven, R-E-M-E, remember more. Fact.
And then, if you remember more, you're able to recall it, you can sound super impressive to all your friends and family.
Yeah, but also Sketchnotes, these are really great conversation starters. So to share the information with your colleagues, so if you go to a meeting and you want to take it back and share it with other people, what better than to give them a lovely visual reminder that they can look at straight away
and know what
know exactly what happened. They're really good. They can take that conversation to the next level. So, you know, you're presenting, it's a way to present information back to other people as well.
Yeah. And you're cutting out the middleman if you just do it in the moment too. You don't have to like then go and
absolutely
create this stuff after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, and also, you know, it's fun.
Yes.
It's creative.
It's letting the inner child out.
Yeah, and there's a really lovely TED talk by a lady called Sunny Brown, which is S-U-N-N-I, and she talks about doodling, and it's all about doodling. And she talks about how doodling helps your brain, and there's loads of stuff now, isn't there, colouring in books and things, and it's starting to become recognised. But she talks about why, you know, we're told not to doodle in school. You know, they did a thing. She talked about Tony Blair's doodles being looked at and you know, like analysed for what he was drawing.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, so there's people have always said, you know, you shouldn't doodle, but actually you should doodle, but doodling with a purpose. So she talks about doodling with a purpose, and this is doodling with a purpose.
Well, because a lot of people doodle to waste time, but actually if you were channeling it into something creative, then, you know, you might hear that snippet, that golden nugget, you might hear it and retain it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think that's it.
I'm going to do this tonight.
Oh, one other thing.
Yes.
So, my little book, which is a very small little storybook.
This is actually magical.
Of all these things, which also makes... so all of this is in this little book. But also, it's an amazing thing because it's all joined up in one piece of paper. I just love that.
It's crazy and I love it.
Yeah, so just get in touch and you can have one of these and you can print it out and make your own little book.
So how can people find out more about you?
You can visit my lovely website.
Okay.
Which is, here you go.
Emma Paxton, imagistic.co.uk. Amazing.
With the lovely Come on,
I want to know how you're going to spell it now.
You told me how to remember it.
I did. I tell everyone. Annelies.
That's it.
Weird. Super weird.
James, and your website?
AnneliesJames.uk. Beautiful, beautiful work. What a lovely job you have.
I do. It's the best job in the world.
I bet. And thank you so much for sharing this. This is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you. Bye.